Alright, welcome to the new episode of Cricket Talkies, a scene on Cricket Talkies. We have a lot to discuss this week, and on this week's episode, a wide range of topics. The Ashes, how that series went, the India versus South Africa series, how that went, the upcoming India-South Africa one-day series, the captaincy change, and first of all, the quitting of captaincy by Virat Kohli, then who will be the next captain? Could be Rahul, could be Rishabh, could be Rohit. I mean, the choices are endless. Opinions from tons of experts, and perhaps some musings, some things that just pop into my mind. So let's get started. Alright, with the Ashes. Well, that was disappointing from an English perspective, how that series went about. 4-0 drubbing against an Australian team. I think I'm not really keen on this topic of the law of averages, but somehow that could be one thing which seems to have favoured the Australians in this case. They were really struggling down in the dumps, and then they make a resounding comeback in terms of how everyone played. You have Warner who is struggling, you have Steve Smith who is not doing too well, you have Labuschagne who was doing well on and off, or perhaps it's just a case of out of sight, out of mind. We've not seen Australia play for a while, so perhaps that. Then you have Usman Khwaja who played sensational innings, or a couple of sensational innings, 100 in both innings of a test game. On the other hand, England didn't do too well. Joe Root, I think, exhausted his ammunition while India was on tour in England. Played spectacular knocks against an Indian bowling lineup, and then against Australia they seem to have succumbed to the pressure. A lot of things seem to have contributed in that sense. The bowling was not too bad, I would say. You've got James Anderson, you've got Stuart Broad, you've got Ollie Robinson, you've got Mark Wood. However, what let England down, I think, was the batting. Collateral, just a complete failure of sorts, in the sense that Australia played really well and the English batsmen just could not live up to the pressure or handle the pressure, which is quite disconcerting. When you have players like Joe Root who are just exceptional, and then who put in so much effort to see players struggle like that, it reminds me of Sachin, how he used to be playing exceptional cricket and then have players fall all around him. I'm not talking about the era when Rahul and Ganguly and Lakshman were there, but there was a period when it was him or it was Sachin or bust. Well, I hope England do learn from it. Lots to unpack here. It was a sensational series. You've got Usman Khwaja. I was particularly happy for that guy. He's been around for quite a while on the circuit, doing well, and then you have this issue where he comes in and out of the team. He gets injured quite a lot, unfortunately for him, and then he comes and scores 2 back-to-back hundreds, and then thereafter you promote him to an opening slot, which I felt was a little unfair on him. Of course, there is a debate of you have to fit into the team, but how much do you fit into the team? You perform well at a position, you've shown your true colours, you've performed exceptionally well, and then you're the one who has to make the sacrifice. And as a player who's trying to establish himself in the team, you have to take a position which may not suit your batting style, but you have to. So he went for it. He couldn't say no. I mean, that's not the thing you do when it comes to national team duties. Unfortunately, he struggled. I hope they do persist with him, because I mean, how many players do you know who have exceptional talent and who can actually score 200s in 2 consecutive innings in the same test match and in a high pressure series like the Ashes? So I hope they do remember it and give him a wide rope or a long rope when it comes to the next series against whoever they play. I haven't looked at the itinerary right now. So that was that. Pat Cummins did an exceptional job as a captain, led his team well. That's not something which is very common when it comes to fast bowlers being captain. So quite good for him. Unfortunately, Tim Payne had to step aside due to some unexpected and unfortunate incidents that he was part of. I wish him all the best. He led Australia through a very difficult time, built the team up, and did his part. Now moving on to England, I think some heads will roll. You had Ben Stokes. I mean, his head is not going to roll, but he took a break. He had some personal things he needed to deal with. He came back, and then he come back to an exceptionally charged series like the Ashes. It's asking a lot after a layoff like Ben Stokes had. You can't expect more out of Joe Root, so he stays on, of course. I do hope there will be a coaching change, because somebody has to be made the scapegoat, or has to pay the price, because England didn't do too well in England against India. So I think he was a coach then and there as well. So will it be Trevor Bayliss? Will it be Gary Kirsten? Oh, I'm sorry, Trevor Bayliss is expected for Australia. Yeah. Could it be Gary Kirsten? That's something we'll keep an eye on. Now the Indian series got over. South Africa made a sensational comeback, won the series 2-1, and what do you know, a couple of days later, Virat Kohli steps down as the Indian captain. Quite a shock when you think about it. I mean, to some, at least to me, it was, I think it was building up for some time. He's somebody who's Virat, I mean, puts a lot of pressure on him as a player, as a captain, and I think he upsets some people, at least from the outside, because he expects a lot, and so it may not come across as all jovially and all kind. But I think when you're the captain of a team like India with a billion people behind you and worldwide as well, who are watching you, who are expecting you to do interesting things and achieve a lot, I think that is the approach you need to be taking. I would equate him to an Australian captain like a Steve Waugh. I mean, he was not as vocal or as demonstrative as Virat Kohli is, but in terms of how aggressive Steve Waugh was as a captain, or the mentality to win was always there. So I think that was perhaps a little hard to digest for some people from the Indian perspective. I do wish him all the best. I think he gave a lot to the team, and sometimes from people who expect a lot from others because they themselves are putting in a lot, it can make you some enemies. Let's put it like this. And I think he just had enough. He also already had a issue where he was having some less than fun moments with the selection committee, and of course the chairman, Saurav Ganguly, chairman of the board. I think that's an issue you should be avoiding. He's a strong character, and so is Virat Kohli. So I think it's just a question of understanding where you stand. Not that I'm saying one is bigger than the other, of course, though I am saying that, but I think position needs to be respected. The stature of a person like Saurav Ganguly needs to be respected, and of course the position of a captain of the Indian team who's carrying a huge load on his shoulder needs to be respected as well. I do feel this could have been handled better from both sides, I think Virat Kohli needs to be appreciated, needs to be congratulated for an excellent, unexpectedly brilliant job that he did as a captain. led from the front, always performed 110%, even though that's not a thing, but you can associate that with a player of Virat Kohli's caliber. I wish him all the best. I hope he doesn't make any rash decisions in terms of him continuing as a player, because you definitely need somebody like him in the Indian team, and the world cricket needs somebody like him to carry the game forward, to inspire people. Yeah, so I guess that's that. Now, the upcoming series in India, South Africa, or let's say South Africa versus India, I think it's 5 one-days, if I'm not mistaken. And a captaincy change there as well, because Rohit Sharma couldn't make it. So I think it'll be Rahul who will be leading the team. It'll be interesting to see. I think it's only 3 one-days. My mistake. I think there are some T20s got cancelled because of COVID concerns, which may be compensated for at a later stage, like the India-England 5th Test match that will be played in the next summer, or I think the 2022 summer sometime. COVID has made things interesting for cricket and for everyone worldwide. So yeah, I think the match starts tomorrow and will be played in Paarl. I wonder if who will open. I think they might want to give Shikhar Dhawan a chance again. Let's see where he stands. But I do feel this could be one of those times when it's one of those last chances that he gets. But this is all speculation. I won't go over what the team composition would be, though people like Sanjay Manjrekar have definitely put their team forward. He has Mayank Agarwal opening with... no, I'm sorry, that was my mistake. No, he did put some teams. Oh, that's interesting. I think Sanjay Manjrekar is an interesting character. He did have some choice words for a player of Virat Kohli's stature, which was quite unexpected. Or let's say expected, because he also had fun things to say about Sachin Tendulkar. Didn't make him too many friends. Perhaps he's playing the heel, as they say in wrestling. Hey, but that's him. Wish him all the best. I do think that was a little unfair, the fact that he said that Virat Kohli tends to quit when there is pressure on him, which is something I don't believe Sanjay Manjrekar understands, the kind of pressure Virat Kohli was under. So I don't know where he's coming from. Just looking from outside, it's very easy to speak and to criticize, because we're just playing to the crowd. And I think he's better than that. I hope he realizes he's better than that, because there are some people still who do respect him. Anyhow, the squad seems interesting. I think they will look to experiment here a little bit. Shreyas Iyer will get a chance, I'm sure, and so will Sky, Surya Kumar Yadav. Of course, they need to establish this their place in the team with Hardik not playing still. It's a good opportunity to be the third or the number 4, number 5 batsman. That position is still available. Sky has performed reasonably well, but there have been instances where he's just trailed off. I think this is a good opportunity to cash yourself in, because you're playing outside. That definitely carries more weightage, so to say. Oh yeah, of course, the topic of captaincy for the test team. What would happen there? That is something to think about. Will it be KL Rahul? Will it be Rishabh Pant? Sunny Bhai definitely had the idea that Rishabh Pant could be somebody who could bring a lot of value to the Indian team, because it just seems he's that kind of a fighter, that kind of a character who could inspire the team. He played an amazing knock 100 where everybody did struggle, and he just made it look easy. He's chirpy, he's full of energy, he's smart, he can handle tons of bowling, and he takes the pressure or the load when he needs to, and just can still play without pressure when he does not need to. So that would make for an interesting couple of months or however long we have before India plays a series in India. So the topic of India versus South Africa, or let's say South Africa versus India, considering India is touring South Africa. We're talking about the ODI series. The Indian squad for the series is quite interesting. A lot of fresh faces. We've got KL Rahul as the captain, the new captain in place of Rohit Sharma, who was injured and could not be match fit or could not be fit for the series. We've got Jasprit Bumrah, who's been handed over the reins as the vice captain. We've got Ravi Ashwin. You've got Yuzi Jail as a leg break bowler. Deepak Chahar, Shikhar Dhawan, Ruturaj Gaikwad, Ishan Kishan, Venkatesh Iyer, Shreyas Iyer, alleged brothers, not really. Virat Kohli, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Mohammad Siraj, Rishabh Pant, Prasidh Krishna, Shardul Thakur, Surya Kumar Yadav, Jayant Yadav, another alleged set of brothers. Kidding. Washington Sundar did not make the squad. I mean, he was there, but he had to go back. I think there were some COVID concerns or perhaps some injury issues there, so he misses out. Unfortunate for him. It'll be interesting to see if India give Ruturaj the go-ahead in the first or in the tournament as an opener, and who really opens. Though Shikhar Dhawan will also be competing as an opener and be vying for that spot. Perhaps this could be his swan song, we never know, but he's a resilient character. He keeps performing at the right time and has been consistent with some on and off issues where he's not come on, which was has left the door open for some new characters and new players to come in and make their spot or make their presence felt in the opening position. Think Ravi Ashwin as a bowler in the ODI format, he's making a comeback, so that's quite interesting. I'm happy for him. I hope he can do a good job there. He seemed to be quite a good rhythm throughout the Test series. Venkatesh Iyer and Shardul Thakur, think they would be vying for the all-rounder spot. Quite interesting. Let's see who really gets a nod and who really comes up good. It's been interesting with how Shardul has performed. Mr. Beefy has Lord Shardul as we speak about him. He's done a good job in the limited opportunities he's got. Venkatesh Iyer played the last series. I think he was a little too flamboyant. Maybe perhaps it was a case of the nerves, where he just tried to do too much with whatever little chance he had. Perhaps better sense prevails. He makes the best of it. With South Africa a little depleted in the sense that even Rabada has been rested because they want to arrest him for the New Zealand Test series. So another opportunity for the guys to make their presence felt. It'll be an interesting show. Prasidh Krishna, also an interesting pick, and quite a tier of a fast bowler. Lacks some experience, so good opportunity for him to make a mark here. The rest, the usual suspects. Shreyas Iyer, counting a lot on him. He looks to be the future of the middle order and perhaps the number 4, number 3 position in the upcoming future. Surya Kumar Yadav also needs to do some magic now. I think he's been on and off, the guy with tremendous potential. I think this is a great opportunity that he cements his place. Let's have a look at the South African squad. Temba Bavuma, he's the captain, quite interesting. He's quite a gutsy player. Quinton de Kock makes a comeback. He was in the squad, he just quit Test cricket. Keshav Maharaj is the vice captain. Marco Janssen, George Linde, I think he's a good player. Sisanda Mahala, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's new, I've never heard of him. Janaman, Malan, Aiden Markram, David Miller. Oh, that's strong middle order batsman. Lungi and Giri, Wayne Parnell, he makes a comeback after a few years. I think he went to the county circuit for a little bit. And Andile Felukwayo, he is also a very good all-rounder. He's done well on occasion that I've seen him. Dwayne Pretorius, Tabriz Shamsi, he's always a character. Rassi van der Dussen, Kyle Ferrene, and Zubair Hamza. So some new faces, or at least to me they seem relatively new. So I think both teams are trying to give their new players some chances of, considering the World Cup, T20 World Cup is coming soon, and get them maximum amount of exposure. So that'll be quite fun. And I think that wraps up the India's tour of South Africa. Some new teams are coming up in the IPL. I think there's one in Ahmedabad which is likely to pick Hardik Pandya as a captain. Well, he's been missing out from the scene for a while, which is sad considering how much potential he had, and that injury which he had where he folded right in the middle of his bowling after bowling that ball and folded on the crease. I think it's plagued him for quite a while. It's affected his bowling and his chances as a certified all-rounder. So that'll be quite interesting to see how he leads the squad, and will he bowl, will he not bowl, will he try to preserve himself. Yeah, Ahmedabad draft picks. It's Rashid Khan and Shubman Gill. I'm surprised to see Shubman Gill not sticking with KKR where they persisted with him. But those are things which players have to decide perhaps, or maybe KKR decided to release him and then perhaps pick it, but I think he's decided to go to a new franchise. And then of course KL Rahul did not seem to be too happy with his position in Kings 11 Punjab. I think they've changed the name, Punjab Kings, yes. I think he's moved to Lucknow with Marcus Stoinis and Ravi Bishnoi, who was also a part of the Punjab Kings squad. So that'll make an interesting situation. I think having more number of franchises gives the opportunity to increase number of players from the local circuit, from the Indian circuit, and as well brings out new and foreign players into the mix. So I think it's a good thing for all around for cricket and Indian cricket. Cricket has become finally a viable option for a lot of players, not just the 11 people that are in the national team. I think cricket can be thought of as a vocation now, which is a good sign, because not everybody wants to be an engineer. Right, and what do we have next? Yeah, Unmukt Chand. He retired from the Indian cricket and wanted to join the USA cricket setup. I think he made his debut in BBL finally. It must have been quite frustrating to be sticking around, not having a chance, which can be quite challenging at times for a player. Unfortunately, India lost him. I wish him all the best. And yeah, Sri Lanka is playing Zimbabwe. Battle of the Minnows. I hope they sort the mess that they've been going through with some of the players being retired or being forced to sit out a whole year. It seems quite harsh. Perhaps penalties could have been well thought out, considering when new countries coming into the whole ICC setup, there's a good chance a lot of people will want to quit. Smaller boards or teams from countries that do not support you or offer you such huge financial rewards because of so many leagues coming up. So I think boards also need to be a little considerate of this fact. You cannot be having a dictatorial hand, though a board's decision does need to be respected. I think players' future also needs to be taken into concern here, or taken into account, because you've only got a few years as a player. So don't think any player would be happy to sit out 1 year, and with Sri Lanka cricket already mired in tons of controversies over the years, don't think it bodes well for them to take such hard stances on players who have so much potential. I think perhaps good counselling would have been a better option. Perhaps a reprimand of being made to do a public apology, that would have helped. So I think they've spoken to Rajapaksa at least, where they've convinced him to come back, and he's withdrawn his retirement. So that's a good sign. I just hope the administrators realize what they're doing, because you're playing with somebody's livelihood. I think we've spoken about the English cricket, their coaching situation. We've spoken about Khwaja. I hope he does well. And yeah, that was interesting to hear that Justin Langer might step down or Trevor Bayliss might take his spot. But it's interesting to note that Trevor Bayliss would actually take his spot. I was not under the impression that Justin Langer was looking to quit, especially after England wins the Ashes, and England does seem to be on the back foot. So there's a high chance that when Australia does visit England, they can definitely dominate them. So I think you want to leave on a high, but when there's cash in the bag, there's no need to just quit on the first good opportunity. I think it would be quite fun to actually dominate England in England as an Australian team. But I think there could be other concerns as well, that he might have maybe family issues. Maybe he's been the coach for quite a while. It's been a grueling period with all this COVID stuff that's been going on, so it takes quite a toll on players. Yeah, we're all eagerly looking at what all the teams do in the upcoming series. So I think that about wraps up. We'll definitely have some interesting comments from Gautam Gambhir and Wasim Jaffer and Sanjay Manjrekar in the upcoming days. So that'll be quite fun to discuss, and seeing how the series progresses would be quite interesting though. Looking forward to the match that starts tomorrow, India versus South Africa. Let me rephrase that: South Africa versus India in Pearl, and looking forward to it. We'll be back with a recap of what happened in the first game pretty soon, perhaps tomorrow itself. So see you then. Thank you. Bye.